Hello, my literary luminaries, and welcome back to another Top 5 Thursday. I had to fudge this one a little bit to make it work, but I think we're going to be okay with it. This Top 5 Thursday are your top 5 books involving time travel. I have not read many of these, which is why I ended up fudging it, but I will explain that when we get to it, so without further ado, let's get started. Number 1 are the Chronicles of Narnia, and I'm putting sort of all of them in together because I think a lot of them have to do with time travel. And you may not necessarily think, but Ryan, they're traveling to different places, not to different times. Not entirely true. Using The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as my sort of basis, if you look at what happens when the kids go into the wardrobe versus when they come out, time passes differently in those two spaces. So while they've spent years and years in Narnia, when they come back out, they've spent barely no time gone in, their world. And then eventually when they come back to Narnia, thousands and thousands of years or something have passed. So it's not traditional time travel, but I do believe that that constitutes as time travel. They are traveling through different times and seeing the results thereof. And I've always loved the Chronicles of Narnia. As with pretty much every other book I've ever said on this series, I really need to reread them because it's been a long time. And I'm still not 100% sure I've read all of them. I skipped one or two of them in my first read through, and I think I've gone back and read them all, but I'm not positive. But excellent books, and I think they belong on the list. Number 2 on the list is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, because who doesn't want a time turner? I want a time turner. I always loved the concept of Hermione being like, no, I have to take all these classes, and having to get like a magical item that can make her be in like 3 places at once, just to take all of her classes. Oh, Hermione Granger. But one of the more obvious time travel books for those of, my generation and whatnot. Obviously, I had to put it in here. Number 3 is one of the more recently read ones that I have on the list, and it's actually the time travel part of it that completely blows my mind with it, and that is Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. This whole book is about time travel. Backwards, forwards, sideways, frontways, squareways, longways. Dear Lord, I can't follow what happens in that book. Really, really interesting book. Very hard to follow. There's aliens and time travel, and I don't know, but it's all over the place. Number 4. This is where my list gets a little fudged, because as far as I can remember, the 3 I've just mentioned are the only ones I've read that have time travel in them. There may be others, and I just can't think of them right now, but those are the 3 main ones. So my last 2 on the list are ones that I have on my TBR and actually own copies of, but have not yet read. So number 4 is The Time Traveler's Wife. I don't know a ton about this. It's not my usual, niche for books. It's not my usual genre, but I've heard really, really good things about it. So even though I'm walking into the book fairly blind, which is impressive because it's been out for a while now, but I guess I'm just that oblivious to these things, I'm looking forward to reading it. I think it'll be a fun time, and I do like time travel, despite the fact that my books don't seem to have them in them. And number 5. Number 5 is probably one of the ones I have been told to read more often than anything else, and I have the same problem with reading these as I do the Game of Thrones books, in that they're very large, and there's a lot of them. And I'm bad at books sometimes, but that is Diana Gabaldon's Outlander. And I do have a copy of Outlander. It's sitting on my bookshelf. It's a romance. It's full of impressive things. There's a TV show. My mother, I believe, has read the entire series. I have friends that have read the series and watched the TV show, and everyone tells me I should read it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the characters from the pieces I've heard sound really interesting. I've recently fallen in love with the romance genre. I'm sure it's going to be a blast, but that's my number 5. So, a little bit of a different one, slightly shorter video because I don't have a ton to say about these, I guess. That's kind of weird. But in any event, what are your top 5 books about time travel? I clearly need to read more of them, so let me know your favorite titles down in the comments below. As always, I love to hear from you, and I'd love to get your opinion on this matter. But, as always, I will say adieu for now, and I will see you again on Tuesday. Bye! But, as always, until next time, I will see you again on Thursday. No, that's wrong.